tuning in now or after the midday market report, please make sure that that like button is, it will greatly help push us through the analytics and help us expand ourselves through the algorithm. If you could also, I would like to hear what everybody thinks about. I'm going to go over a couple different things after I timestamp this, but I want to turn the brightness down here because it's glaring on this screen. Much better, much better. All right. Let me just get this. So we've got a lot to discuss here in a very short amount of time for the midday market report. I'll try to keep this to, I'm not going to say 10 minutes, but I'd like to keep this to like 20, 25 minutes at max. So let me timestamp this, and then I'll look to see if anybody's commented and to see if anybody's here. So good early afternoon, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, January 25th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as we can see, we've had a drop down in metals. We've had a drop down, especially I'm very excited about B2 Gold. I hope everybody's been paying attention at the drop zone where it was the buy-sell area. Once we fell out of the formation we were in, you should be selling it if you were holding it to buy it back down. And once we got into the buy zones, and we'll talk about that, we have firmly are in the buy zone right now. Now it's going to get to a point where we're at to where I will layer in and I will continuously buy month after month on a certain set amount because it's come down into this zone. But I'll talk about that when I get to B2 Gold. Very excited about that. PAX-G's down to 2004. So we'll see if it's playing off a bull flag or if it's just going to break down. We can see gold's at 2014 after a reversal that we'll look at. It's pretty flat today. Silver up about 0.5%. We've got the gold silver ratio right now at about 88.48. It's come down about $3 in the last couple of days. So we'll definitely look at that as well. So let me turn on the comments so that I can see. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. JW, welcome in. Mike Stevenson, good morning. And JW, thanks for being part of Tom's Army for over 1 year. Incredibly generous with the I told you so badge. I greatly appreciate that. As we can see, the Dow Jones is down $12 or $13 or up $13 or 0.04% to 37,821. Your Voister, welcome in. The Focus, good afternoon. Thanks for being in Tom's Army as well for over a year with the I told you so badge. XRP is about to run, Flex says. We'll see about that. We'll see. I'm definitely targeting a lower zone that I am on my knees begging XRP to go down to the rising channel support from June of 2022. It would send us into an extreme oversold all the way from the lower time frames, getting into the weekly time frames. That is how you have an explosive move other than just a back test for another resistance. I'm looking at the opportunistic point for XRP. If we could drop another 6 cents here, it would be unbelievable. But we'll see what happens there. We'll look at that at the very end of this live. I did a very nice update this morning that you might want to take a look at. Flex rated. So hopefully that answered your question. Mark, good afternoon. We'll also look into WTI crude as well. John Hall, welcome in, brother. UK Phil, good afternoon and welcome in. Let's see who else is in here as well. Matt Holden, thanks for being in Tom's Army for month. I believe that's month. It's either 5 or 6 with the XRP Meteor. I greatly appreciate that, the emoji badge you have. So I appreciate the continued support. As you know, some people have dropped off Tom's Army. Some people have continued in Tom's Army. So I embrace and appreciate the ones who were in even for a month, but the ones who continued on. Mike Stevenson, welcome in and good afternoon. So getting into the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is still overextended in a daily time frame sense. It's not as overextended as it was, and it actually cleared off some room. So it could be in a sneaky flag here. Kevin Bruner, welcome in. Search for crypto. Good afternoon. 44 cents. Yes, I know that is my, that's the level that I really want to see happen. We'll discuss XRP at the very, very end. Bitcoin, though, or Dow, is it in a bull flag? Looks like it in a sense. If we could hold the 20-day at no less than 37,689, it could allow this to break out. But these are oftentimes, and you might have remembered with the Dow or with the Bitcoin, when it creates these little heads, this could be an extended head here even. But in the weekly, it looks like it still wants to bounce up a little bit. Mike Stevenson, thank you so much for the $20 donation. That is so incredibly generous. Haven't had a donation in a few days, so it's always exciting to see when somebody pays it forward like that. Thank you so much, Mike. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. And if Bitcoin holds, the Dow holds, even on this broadening wedge that it's in, it would still bounce up all the way up to almost 40,000. And the more the stock market gets excited about a Trump presidency, even though I don't do politics, I know blue, red, it doesn't make it. There's no difference. The central bank runs the world, as unfortunate as that is. You need to understand what that means and understand that at more of a finite level than our individual country politics that are just presented to be the best test case for the central banks anyhow. So, but stock market likes the Trump presidency, so it could keep bouncing on that if that's what they're starting to traject towards. But I can tell you right now, being in an election cycle, you're not technically going to see the market crash. If anything, you'll see the stock market continue to be overinflated until the next, until the end of the cycle. So that's where we're at a standstill right now in that regard. DXY is at 103.60, up 35 cents or 0.34%. DXY, I had that technical move that it could make. As long as it held on the 4 hourly, which it did, the 200 day, as we can see, it hasn't fallen below there. I can move this to exactly where that 200 area bounced at. So it's not like I'm expecting an extreme move, but 104.15 to fulfill the rest of this pattern. It looks like we've just been in an ascending formation. It doesn't look very good. It did clear out a little bit here in the smaller time frame, so it did give itself more room. There's no doubt about that. Even the daily time frame, it's given itself a little bit of room. Weekly time frame, we can see there's room still. So if it continues to come up, the US dollar, and this is what I hope we have one more skabang. I don't know if it can reach all the way up there is the only problem. Can we come up to 108 again? I don't know. If we do, that would help crypto come down, and that would help our commodities come down a little bit more. But we're coming up to a stampede point here because at some point the US dollar is going to dump, but it's like I said, once it came down there, it was so overextended because it did it all in one free fall that it had no choice but to reverse back up. And now we have to see exactly where it's going. Wooter, welcome in. My XAG and XAU buy entries are open in minus. Hopefully you opened it exactly where you wanted it. I did see Tesla was dumping on earnings as well. I'm not surprised by that at all. Think about it. Now Elon's overextended through his acquisition of X, formerly known as Twitter. It was a terrible move for her. Except from the perspective of he's trying to get all the data. I'm not even going to go into it because it's too much, but think of the brain link, the brain implant that he's creating, and then you do your own math. If he's trying to create like an AI crossover. So the U.S. 10-year government bond is down 0.69% to 4.15%. This should not be, and it's Neuralink what I'm talking about. This is not a surprise. We continue to move up here a little bit. We came all the way down. We made a reversal pattern. Now we've come back up on top of the formation. At some point, this is going to have a monumental recovery. Monumental. It's just, is it yet? Because I don't think the DXY is just going unabated for all eternity here. So at some point, this is going to reverse back down because, again, we're in an election cycle and you're going to get those short-term yields. They're going to make it look better than it really is. And then what they're going to pay you through a government bond is certainly not going to go up. It's going to go down if they're trying to lower. If we're going back and turning rates negative again to the opposite direction, you have no choice but to bring these down in the short term. That's why I could see 2.9% in the future here coming up. If it decides to play out like it looks like it is. Because if we come up now, this is a double top trying to form. If we don't continue consolidating, there's such a mess going on right now in the bond markets, the equity markets. It's going to turn into an all-out disaster and warfare here. And let's not kid ourselves. We're bombing the Middle East. We're in an all-out war in the Middle East. They're acting like we're not, but we are, and that's all I'm going to say about that. U.S. crude oil is up 1.47% or $1.11 to $76.42 per barrel. That's priced in U.S. dollars. And it looks like a W reversal kind of is created. And we've talked about how I expect it to come up here to resistance at around $79.28 to see if the pattern is still bearish or if we can break out of this and then start completing like a cup and handle formation. You've got a couple of them that started, but I'm talking about a grand cup and handle here. It already created the cup. Now it's building a big handle if it could come up, but it would have to do it in a concise manner. Otherwise, this is just a rejection point on an overextended bear flag, would come up and continue down. And then it could figure out and finish out this momentum here. So I'm waiting to buy that because, again, in an election cycle, what better way than to say, oh, look how low gas prices are. Look how low the oil is per barrel priced in US dollars. You know, it's just, there's so many optics that you must pay attention in this cycle. The one thing that can't go unnoticed, good afternoon, Angela. Welcome in, love. And thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over a year with the I Told You So badge. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. And that helps my cause more than anybody in this audience could ever even understand. For the fact that I don't do paid promotions, advertisements, or sponsorships of any kind, you know, I throw away all that money that they can easily pay me. Well, it would be to manipulate each and every one of you. But, you know, it's that important when somebody sends a donation or is in Tom's Army. I can't even stress it enough. Cannot even stress it enough. You're welcome, Angela, and thank you for being a very loyal part of this audience. MGR, thank you. I agree with that exactly. And you agree with what I said, too, so we're on the same page. Gold's at 2013 spot 50 per ounce, flat on the day. Matt Holden, I appreciate you being in Tom's Army for 6 months approximately with the XRP Meteor emoji badge. Thank you so much. I love the extendedness. I would love to see some new people in here as well. I would love to see a bigger part of the audience in Tom's Army paying it forward. But, you know, that will come. More and more people will do it in time. It's got to be the right cycle as well, though. We're in a bad cycle right now with XRP dumping. It's going to make it limited opportunities for some who rely on trading, especially if they're just swing traders to the upside. So, gold, we've come below this very important uptrending support, which is exciting. We talked about it several weeks ago when we made the up push that I anticipate a push down to 1930. And as low as, if it came all the way down because we diagnosed the pattern pretty early, that it could come down to 1875 on a overzealous dump off. You look at it in the weekly, it would do us very well to finish this dump off. Now the problem is on a weekly sense, it does look a little bull flaggy, but I will tell you this, it's come back below the trend line with the relative strength. And that is the first sign that you're starting to flip back into a bearish proposition here. The other thing is, as much as this is swaying out, I always look at these that look like extended bear flags now. It kind of tricks you into them because you're not paying attention to the wick, and then it dumps you down. That is something that plays out more often than we like to admit. So that's what I'm looking for. So a dump down to 1930. Now, the problem with that is 2,000 the new floor right now. Even if it is, that doesn't mean you can't have a quick wick. Daily time frame could absolutely get you down there. Now you could get stopped here even on a dump at 1960. If we're looking at it from a 4-hourly time frame, we're already lower than our support. It's just a matter of, do we correct back up? We do have a long leg doji forming back to back. So could we be running out of steam to the downside? It is possible, because at some point the DXY is going to have to correct. But as we've seen on earlier technical analysis when we started this live, the DXY still has plenty of room to run. Now that it corrected all the way down to around 101 at the lowest. So a little bit lower than that. So it does give you room for some of these to correct further. PAXG, it's exactly what we talked about last week. Is there a buying opportunity? Well, if there is, we can't buy it until it retests. Now it's retesting this area at 1995. Now we have to make an educated and informed decision. I'm not ready to make a move on any of this stuff yet, especially because it's on the bottom side, especially because gold looks like it could have a continuation since we're on the bottom side of a very important resistance line. So I'm not ready to just say, oh, this is the time. Now, when we get down to the gold-silver ratio, it's good time for silver right now at 88.52. This will not happen forever. I can assure you of that. We did have to have a nice dump down, which now we're going to have the correction back up. So if you're going to buy it, you're going to get a little bit better buying opportunity at around 89.5 because we have to see how bearish we are. But it certainly seems like this will die down at some point could be putting in that topping formation now. But remember, we haven't come to the top yet at 99. So if it's overzealous and it corrects here the proper way like it's trying to, you could certainly see another push up. But I would be more welcoming to a double top at 91.91, to be honest with everybody. Unless gold and silver does dump down by big amounts, you're going to start seeing a topping on that gold-silver ratio. But right now, you're getting 88.5 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. You take that when it's 40-1 and you trade 45 ounces for your ounce of gold, you still got 40 ounces of silver from that purchase. It's the way the smart people do it. That's the way the ones who understand it at a finite level do it. That's how I started doing it, because I learned from the best. They didn't teach me one-on-one, but I watched them religiously for years and years and years until I understood it. So, and now I'm trying to transfer it all to each and every one of you. Silver, death cross in the daily, getting rejected on the 20. I mean, I don't really see a way up. I still have the X marks the spot here where I'd like to see it at 21.50. I think it does a magnificent job in clearing out a lot of these time frames. Even the weekly would benefit greatly to continue this dive down to the end of the week. It's already going to look a little bit better here. It's just the problem is our weekly candle. We came all the way down to 21.93 and have already reversed back up, which means we're going to start to see a rounding when this already closes if it stays like this tomorrow. So that's the thing. Did we already have our dump downs? I don't know. I don't necessarily think it came far enough. So we'll see. We will certainly see. We will certainly see, and it's going to be an interesting couple weeks here. B2 Gold now is entering a buy zone. B2 Gold's entered a buy zone. It's not necessarily right to the buy zone, so just consider what your strategy is, but it's certainly entered your first level of buys. This is the first level of buys. The lowest target, it's kind of come down to $2.21. It could. $2.40 was a very strong targeted buy area. Even where we're at now, it's approached a very strong buy. I know everybody who's watching knew you sold it once this formation broke, and then you buy it back on the way down if it did break it. So I hope everybody's been doing their due diligence. If you're into commodities, if you're into B2 Gold, that you did your due diligence and you're paying attention to each and every one of these, which means your support area is down at $2.22. That is the bottom of this formation. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you would start buying. It is a great indicator, though, that that's an excellent level to be down at. We are in the oversold in all of these major all of the major time frames. Into the 4, 3 hourly, we're in the oversold. 2 hourly, but it looks like we should. That looks, if you're watching this with me, does this look like a bear flag to everybody, or does this look like a reversal? I'm just curious your input as we're winding down on this midday market report. I want to hear what everybody has to say. Would you buy back here yet, or would you wait for the continuation to $2.22? Like I said, it's in a buy zone, but we haven't said exactly what to do yet. So I want to hear from anybody who's here. We're overextended. There's no doubt about that in the smaller time frames. 30 minutes rounding about now, so. But, yep. It does look like a wait scenario here, Kevin. I absolutely agree with that. I am personally, since it's sold out, I am waiting to see if it does finish this leg down. That's the problem. That is absolutely the problem, is that volume is decreasing as we come along, especially if you look at like the 2 hourly. That volume is indicating at some point here we're going to have a reversal candle. The problem is now, as you've seen the reversal after that small move up, which means that we're probably still a little bearish in the area. So I think it's a tiny bear flag, but I think, like we've said in the past, $2.40. Forget $2.22. I put this pivot point down a long time ago. I think $2.40 is our targeted buy, and I am going to wait it out to $2.40, honestly. And if it doesn't wait out until $2.40, well, it might be I have to punch myself in the face event. But I firmly believe that this is likely, for some reason, it spoke to us for a very long time with B2 Gold, that $2.40, that is the end-all, be-all level that we need to get in at. I know a lot of people have been here for a long amount of time here with me with B2 Gold, so you understand exactly what I'm saying about B2 Gold. How that ended up turning into a targeted buy zone. I don't think it's any secret here for anybody who's watching. So once it gets down to $2.40, I've got $3,500 at $2.40. Once it if it goes to 222, I'll put another 400. So then it'll put me around 4,000. It's just, we need this continuation down. I can't even stress it enough. If we get this last leg down, it's just like with crypto. I beg of the DXY to move up one more level. I beg it to finish this off because it'll allow commodities to finish its move. We're just going to start getting into this oversold or overbought here in the next day or two. Hopefully we have an explosive move down to end the week. Let's just put it that way. I hope we move down to end the week in commodities. We finish this off. We continue this deep drop. And then very quickly with XRP, and then I'm out. XRP is down 2.02% to 50755. Good afternoon, Derek. I need to learn commodities, holding physical gold and silver. Yep. The physical part of it, you don't get rid of. You just continue to stack. It's just, I also buy commodities. I like the dividend on B2 Gold. It's at about 5.34% right now. But I did see the opportunity to sell it at, I didn't get it at 310. I didn't sell it. 306 or 304. No, 304 I sold it. It had already come through, and then I was like, you know what? I don't see any reversal. So I waited 6 cents from that break point, and I had no choice. But now I was going to buy it back in the $2.60 range, but I convinced myself that $2.40 pivot point I've been talking about for far too long. But if it reversed back down, and then that would set me up beautifully if I bought it at 240. Then if I have to buy it again at 220 something, I can drop 400. And then if it goes down under 2 or into the 190s, I can drop another 400, and it would be monthly. So it'd be a perfect time to get that reversal. And then I could maybe have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 if I went to that philosophy by the time it started rotating back up. So now I'm very excited about the opportunity. And XRP, same exact opportunity can present itself with XRP that is likely going to present itself in commodities. If the DXY does what we say, and this would have to break this descending structure, and we would have to lose down here at 496 or 497. If that happens, we should be able to come down here to 44 cents, the rising channel support from June of 2022. That is your monumental spot where you can have an extreme buying opportunity. It'll be an extreme oversold all the way through the daily. The weekly time frame in that event would catastrophically drop into oversold. And even in a monthly perspective, if we closed out the monthly down at 44 cents, even the monthly would be slapping us in the face for a buy if we don't lose the rising channel support. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I got for the midday market report. I appreciate the 35, 36 people that have been with us. If you're looking to trade crypto, just look in the video description below. It's all the ways I do, whether you're going from a futures, leverage trading position, or a spot trading. And it's the cheapest fees that you could possibly imagine. Have a blessed afternoon, everybody. That's everything I've got. I've given it my all. I thank the one person who donated, and hopefully more of you will join Tom's Army who do watch me religiously and pay it forward and help push the content. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a blessed afternoon.